a little background about what Share the Blessing Mission Blitz is. It began, this is moving into our 12th year of the event, and it's when a group of our middle and senior highs went to Laurel Ridge for one of their mission weeks. And on the way back down the mountain, when they were with our pastor at the time, it started a conversation. They came off of that week and were so inspired to go out into Ashe and Allegheny counties. They were painting, they were building wheelchair ramps. It was just it was a very inspirational week for them. This was a grassroots. There was $0 in the budget. Keep that in mind. No dollars for us to do something like this. The very first year, and this was the October after that. It was a year after that mission week experience. We had a group of us that just went down. I have a history before I was a DCE. I was a public health social worker, where I worked with pregnant women in the county, and I was housed in the health department, but I worked very closely with people in the Department of Social Services. So I had some experience going out into the community and going into homes. So I pulled up some of my friends at the Department of Social Services, and I went and sat down and I said, let me tell you what we want to do. But we need your help. We've got to know who those people are. And to tell you a little bit about our county in particular, it's divided by a mountain range. The Saratown Mountains begin and end in our county. I live in the city, so to speak, in King, but our neighbors across the mountain is very rural. And what may, distance-wise, be 10 miles, might take you 45 minutes to get there because you're traveling across the mountain. So we need to know who those neighbors are. Who are the people that need help? How do we get to, So anyway, I went and sat down with some folks at the Department of Social Services, and a group of us also went and talked to our local outreach ministry. Those folks who, kind of like Sunnyside, in our community, that are engaged with these folks Monday through Friday. They're helping with power bills, they're supplying food, they're giving clothes to these people. Who are the people that we can reach out to? So we started this partnership. We developed a referral form. So that's where we're finding out we're identifying these people, and we're contacting them, and we're generating what is it that we can do. That first year, it was just our church, just the folks at King Moravian, which you'll hear more about it in just a minute. Year number 2, up until last year, it's an ecumenical group of neighbors. So we had neighboring churches, not Moravian. We have Baptist, we had Methodist, we have Church of Christ, we have some non-denominational churches who saw what we did that first year, and they said, hey, we want to be a part of this. So since year number 2, it's all of us together. We're all partnering with these agencies, and through the years, it's not 12 churches every single year. Some years, some churches say, hey, we're in transition right now. We're gonna cut wood for a different mission, to provide firewood for people. But usually every year there's about 6 churches that come together. And what we do is we go into these homes and we provide home repairs. And you'll see some pictures in just a minute. It may be wheelchair ramps, but it might be just repairing some steps for people to safely get up into their homes. Repairing floors. We've repaired lots of water damage from roofs, leaky roofs and windows. We've general cleaning, hauling trash away. That's a big thing in our county in particular, is with it being a rural community, there's limited access for trash removal. We don't live in a city where, if you live outside of King, you may not have trash collection. And that poses a big problem for folks that don't have access to transportation. And think about it. Just what you do with your trash. It's huge for a lot of families in our county. Building wheelchair ramps, replacing rotten porches and steps, replacing indoor flooring, walls, doors, and windows, replacing roofs, general cleaning and painting. Delivering food and visitation is so important too. You're going to see pictures of that. Now, some of those jobs, you got to keep in mind, requires, when it comes to things like plumbing and electricity. And a couple of years ago, we went into a home, and I'm not exaggerating, this lady, and I'm thinking she's probably in her early 60s, was living in a barn. When we pulled up, it was pretty much it was a barn with metal siding and wood, and her partner who had passed away built it, but they were living there with no running water and no electricity. And here she was living by herself. Inside it was very neat. I mean, she had her, but here we are. This was 2017, that we have our neighbors living without running water and electricity. So we did contract with some of our licensed friends and installed those two things for her. We did some general cleaning. It made her quality of life so much better. As part of this weekend, and I didn't say this, but it's usually like a 3 or 4 day weekend in October. We always do it the second weekend in October. There are projects that might come up throughout the year. It's hard now that we have a reputation in our community when somebody calls in March saying, hey, I really need this help. This person's really in need, to say no. So there are some occasions. I remember one in particular was a wheelchair ramp that we went out, and actually our youth were engaged in that, and we went out and did it, and it wasn't the second weekend in October. But this whole event is one weekend in October, and we spend all of our time that weekend. We start with a opening worship together. Again, Moravian, Baptist, Methodist, all of us come together. We have an opening worship. Then we do work, those that can, Friday, all day Saturday, and Sunday. And some of us do pause to worship on Sunday. We come back in all dirty and messy and paint all in our hair, but we stop and we worship. And then Sunday evening, we all come back together and we share a common meal. We all bring crock pots of soup and dessert and drinks. We share worship together, and as part of that worship, we share in communion together. It's a neighborhood event. So somebody asked me not long ago, we had a personnel review, and they asked me what was the one thing that I found most joy in throughout the year, and I said it's this event, because in my opinion it's the one time that we're living out our calling in Christ.